So the question, after having established when we're Ois Gimel, we did Ois Gimel. Having established that Leira Omal B'Yisrael, that the toil that is necessary at the Madrege of Yaakov, which is the Avodah of the weekday, Avdi Yaakov, where there's a possibility of oven, and he will need Hashem's assistance that there shouldn't be any oven. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Eizeh. But Omal there is, it's about toil. He doesn't quote the pasuk Adam la'omal yula, that a person is born to toil, in describing the avodah of the weekday. Shabbos is loira omal. Why? Because Shabbos is not avodah seberurim, not milamata l'mayla, not milamayla l'mata. Which means to say, not taking pseilis, the waste from the eichel, not the eichel from the pseilis. But there is achila, and there is karbonis, and the meaning of karbonis is the eish, gvura de malchus, it's gvura de malchus, that's the Lashon he uses here, which causes the birur. The simple meaning, or at least in Avodah of that, gvura de malchus, malchus is behavior, and gvura de malchus is discipline within behavior. So that's the key. The key to be successful in the Avodah during the week is discipline, Kabbalah Soil, the Gvura de Malchus. I mean, there are other manifestations of and expressions and components of this, or Gvura de Malchus, but that's one of the Pashat Inyanim. Gvura de Malchus, it's the fire, he says, it's the Eish, Tamid Tukad, and it's Bech Leisichba, the Eish being Gvura, by which we burn up the resistance and cause the aliyah, the fire ascends of the Nitzutze Kedusha. The fuel is consumed and the fire ascends. Gevura de Malchus. So why is this avodah? How is it shaykh even on Shabbos? Karbonis. So there's Dalet began, and here he introduced the end of Nahar Dinur, right? It started here. It started really with a question, introduced it with a question, and I want you to follow me if you could, and I started. So another gulp of this. Yeah, where is it? So the neshama, even after it leaves the guf, there's aliyas, and even when it's in Gan Eden HaTachton, has to ascend to Gan Eden Elyon. Oh, so in between Gan Eden HaTachton and Gan Eden Elyon is Nahar Dinur, the river of fire. This is a parallel to the Eish Tamid, which is Avodas HaBerurim, consuming the karbonis, the aliyah of the karbonis. So here too, there's a Nahar Dinur between Gan Eden HaTachton and Gan Eden Elyon. So he started by asking a question, but he resolved it. It's important to get this quite clear in the middle of his Dalet. Gemara Chagiga says that where does this river of fire come from? It comes from the Zeya, the perspiration of the Chayis of the Malachim. And where does it go, says the Gemara? It falls on the head of the wicked, quoting a pasuk, Al Resh Hashem Yochel. So Gan Eden, so the Nahar Dinur is falling on the wicked, on the heads of the wicked. How is this possible that it's already in Gan Eden HaTachton? So here's what's already in Gan Eden HaTachton. So here comes the answer that there's two, the Nahar Dinur he quoted moments ago between Gan Eden HaTachton and then Elyon is a different Nahar Dinur. There's two. This is where this emerges. There's two beginners Nahar Dinur. There's Nahar Dinur HaTachton, which the neshama has to undergo after leaving the guf. then there's Gehenna. And then Gan Eden HaTachton, and then there's another Nahar Dinur to ascend to Gan Eden Elyon. And then there's an Omid also he spoke about. Who remembers the Pshat in the Omid? The Omid is the pillar between Gan Eden Elyon and Gan Eden HaTachton. Oh, it's upside down here. That explained in a Vart later. So the Omid is actually the Aliyah and the Iskalulus in the Madrega Elyon. The Omid, the pillar, which the Neshama gets incorporated in Gan, the actual Aliyah in Gan Eden Elyon. That's also an Avodah, which is spoken about, frankly, in Barichas in the Kotetayra, or Bazeh HaNai Rabah, and on Gilus Esther. At any rate, okay. So continuing the Chazara. So what happens to the neshama after, so it leaves the guf? So since it was bound up with the gashmis, and especially if the person transgressed, so he has to go through the fire of Gehenna, which is like physical fire that burns the stains. Like we mentioned, in other places speaks about sheleg, snow. Of course, it's all metaphoric, and it's so the fire is Aved is done out of fire is of shame. Aved is done out of passion, anger, and the Gehenna Mishal Sheleg cleanses the neshama from Aved is done out of indifference, coldness, etc. As he says here, it removes all of the warmness, the warmth that the neshama, the unwanted warmth now, that the neshama had acquired because of his koch and those things which are not godly. He adds in brackets, Gehenna is not a punishment. It is only betul einish bilvat chas v'sholem. It is a punishment, but it's not only a punishment. Teres chesed. The whole point is it's cleansing. Right. Sitting in the dentist's chair is not pleasant, but the dentist is full of love. He wants to remove all the infection and clean you up, and you're paying for it. Okay. But then he says, even after this, the removal of these stains, these are the stains, Pashas of Avedas and so on. There's still just the material attachment that the neshama had by virtue of being fused with the Nefesh Habahamis in the guf. So this causes a akshama, a coarseness that the neshama brings with it. And even if not that, he said he was talking about, just the fact that a person is eating. It's not the Shem Shemayim, it's not an Aveda, it's kosher 100%, and it's not indulgent, but Taivas Heter. But moreover, so that requires the Nahar Dinur. But moreover, even just the fact that the Neshama comes into the body, that causes a coarseness, a veneer, as it were, of coarseness to the neshama. Because he elaborates down here, no matter what level, the neshama doesn't see and experience it because as it does the maila. Even its understanding, the person is understanding, his learning chassidus is understanding, etc. And that's using kochzach and engage in it. But his understanding is very materialistic. It's all physical imagery. We speak of up and down and close and far and bright and dim. The whole language and the whole imagery in our heads, to whatever degree it is all physical. And that has to be literally purged. So this is the perspiration of this interesting thought over here. A marshal, the end of his Dalit. So this is the Nahar Nur that's from the perspiration of the Malachim. So you could do Hamashal, what's the Mashal? Like we see down here when a person is in Yiddish, a state in Akoch, a person is excited about something, so much so that he becomes fakocht, burnt up in something. So when he's really engaged in that, excited and consumed, so anything which opposes him there he's a kitrug. He's very aggressive in rejecting anything that's going to now take him away from his ardor right now. He's completely intolerant of it. He's intolerant of anything right now when he's of any distraction of that which is right now, like my granddaughter said. One here, little Chana, she's going to camp and she's 2.5 years old and it's the first time separating. So my mushka said to her, "You'll get used to it." I don't want to get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. I'm intolerant of any, don't tell me anything else. I want to be home. So this is the perspiration. This is interesting. You say, I don't know if I said this as we first learned it, it didn't occur to me. But the perspiration, the imagery, the perspiration. When does a person perspire? This is the thing, this is the pshat. Person perspires when he's all excited. So the malachim, kedusha, their excitement in kedusha and Neshama comes up, having gone through Gehenna, but it comes up with its gashmis, the imagery. It says, what? It's the psoilus. It's not that their whole attention, but it's complete rejection of that veneer that Neshama takes with it, and that rejection is what burns it away. We get some idea. This is the zayah, the perspiration of the malachim. This is the koch, in which there is l'mayla in the Eibishter, which is completely intolerant. There's something which comes up that is, what are you bringing here? What are you talking about? And that dismissal is what burns away. He calls it the chesed, the hayalma, the imagery, the language, the whole associations with Elam Hasa. Yeah, there's this snagdus nekitra which falls on the head of the wicked. So again, the Nahar Nur is not genim. Genim is for Pashat Havedis, etc. This is just by the miyafel. Like every neshama would seem to have to go through this. Some of the exceptions. This cleansing, just to cleanse the association that I'm looking for. What I'm looking for here, the associations that with physicality that we bring l'mayla, having been fused with the guf for the time that the neshama was lamata. And so why is the Gemara uses the pasuk that this falls on the head of the wicked? The person's not wicked anymore. He's not wicked. He's been cleansed again already. And the various other purging techniques. So at the end of the word Yarshia also means extreme, which means extreme meaning to go away like shaita, shtus, away from a straight path. So it's just this veering, not sin, but it's just not pure kedusha. It's not spirituality. It brings physicality. It's this that has to be removed. And the words at the end of the Maimon, to forget chezoi the hayalma, the imagery, the vision of this world. Hence the need for Nahar Nur, where to enter Gan Eden Tachten, to enter into a true Olam Aruchni and have any real gishmak and tainig in the likus. We have to forget chezoi the hayalma. So that is end of Yisrael. Am I going too slow or not? You want such a chazor or you want a chick-chack 1, 2, 3?
It's just fine.
That's okay. Chaim's vote. Everybody agrees. Yeah, okay. But then when you have the aliyah to Atzilus the Be'emes, just to clarify again, Machlal Tzmavur Chassidus, Yechai hinted to it here that Gan Eden Tachten is Elam HaYitzira, Gan Eden Tachten is Elam HaBriyah. Gan Eden Tachten is Lo Neshamas, because avodah is midas. By midas we mean the natural midas. He speaks in Tanya the avativis, because Olam HaYetzir is dominated by the midas. Olam HaTzilus is dominated, just to refresh your memory, Olam HaTzilus is dominated by Chachma, complete bittul. Olam HaBriya is dominated by Bina. Olam HaYetzir is dominated by Zoh. And Olam HaSiyah is dominated by Malchus. So they all, in other words, notice, although there's 10 spheres, in each Olam, it's not just a duplicate Olam on a lower level. It's a whole different experience. The bittul of Atzilus, the Havana of Olam HaBriya, the emotion of Olam HaYetzirah, and the Maisa of Olam HaSiyah. I remember the mashal I gave you once. It's a fair mashal. You know, it's talking about Chesed HaYalma. We can't help it. We are physical people, and we're trapped in time and space and level and all of the other components that make up Olam Hazeh. And that's how language cannot escape it. But the whole, one of the avodas of Chassidus and Horoving in Chassidus is to divest. It's actually lost on the Baditcheva. To divest the subject matter of its corporeality, of its physicality. That's a big avodah, quite strenuous toil of the Moyach. We can never entirely do that, which is why we need the heart to know it. Obviously, we are still bound with, even the language is going to remain. We speak of higher and lower, Maila Mata, and what it means to the person. So the person invests more in abstraction, thinking in abstraction, it's less up here, down there, but conceptual. So we're talking about the Ishtalshalos. This one Eibishter, it's all one. It's all one. So the Moshe we gave of the 10 spheres as they emerge in the four worlds, remember, it was four people looking at the same painting. It's the same painting. So one perception of the painting is, wow, the material that he used, the canvas, the kind of, is nispol from the oil which paints, and even the colors, the gashmis of the painting. Same, the next view, we're looking at the painting, and he's moved by the emotion that the painting elicits, the whole scene that it's painting. And he experiences like he's there. He's always looking at a painting of whatever it is, of a sunset, of a seashore, like he's there. Experientially, he's experiencing that which the painting is describing, painting. A third person looks at the painting and he sees the incredible talent of the artist, the seichel. He marvels at the seichel of this scene, of the ingenuity of the artist, of the talent. And the fourth person marvels at the artist. He sees the artist in the painting. He sees the artist as his expression of the artist. That's Atzilus, and the lower level is Bria and Eitzir and Asiyah. Akopani. So yeah, how do I start this? So Bachlal Olam HaBriya is Gan Eden Elyon. But here he says it's Atzilus. The word is, it's the Amshocha of Olam Atzilus in Bria. But no, Yotzei Eden, as he goes on to explain in the next ois, which we have to revisit and get clear the psukim and resolve the contradiction. Okay, so conclusion. Be'emes, B'chlal, Gan Eden Elyon is Elamat Hasaga V'Havana, that is Bina, dominated by Bina, that's Gan Eden Elyon. Gan Yatachten is Midas, Elamite Sira, dominated by Zoh. But what's Bina? What's the Tainuk? It's the Amshoch of Chachma, of Atzilus, B'dach Klal in Bina. As we'll see, that's the Tainuk. That's the Eden component. So it's the Amshoch of Bekitz B'chlol is the Amshoch of Atzilus in Olam HaBriya. We're clear? That's Gan Eden Elyon. So let's begin the Inyan. So in Avodah, this to explain that the Hardinur that's required between Gan Eden Tat, Gan Eden Elyon. So in Avodah says is an Avodah, which is what the person is dealing with actual negativity, the actual psoilus. And there's Avodah which is not. And what's that? That between Tefillah and Torah. Tefillah is malamata lamaila. Therefore, you need many achanas. So much so that a person that we learned the previous mind, a person should only begin davening. Says the Gemara in Brachas, out of a heavy head, and Rashi says, "Achnov shtiflus." Never explains that to me. There's just this momentary tshuva and rejection. As he's saying, you have to come davening with the honestly. He's waltzing in, he's just davening as do. He's here, right? Wrapped in his talis and film, looking very holy, which he should, and he is. But there's a moment of kavod rosh. He knows what he is, and there's a moment of tshuva. How deep? A moment of tshuva of kavod rosh. So this is all hachanim l'mata l'mayla, a rejection of things he did, which he shouldn't. So that's all. That's bitter. That's mamash bitter. And then, as we said, in Pasha Begashmis, when you daven, because it's the same words every day. It's a melcham every day to think of what you're saying. Where was it? What was I saying? It's melcham. Torah, however, is menucha. Torah, divited in mekablim tumah. Even a person is tamei. Pidin, the raw din can learn. Tefillah not, but there's Chacham allowed it. But Torah Be'etzim doesn't become tamei. So this is Nahar Dinur. Oh, and he brings that Torah is also called fire. That's why it doesn't become tumah. Like fire cannot become tamei. So this is also Nahar Dinur. He brings here, the Gemara he brings here, immersing in the quote here, is a different Nahar Dinur. This is Tfilusa, the Nur, I told you the story that this heretic asked the Tana that the Abish to your God, you is a Kohen, you say. Lekechem Kohen, it's a Pasuk. So how did he bury Moishe Rabbeinu? That is a simple answer, next of kin, you can do. But every year is next of kin, so he answered, he immersed. How could he immerse in water? The whole water is not enough to immerse the Abish to the whole world. Is like a fragment in the palm of his hand. He immerses in fire. It's not a real answer. The Gemara didn't force him say just to reject him, because fire is not in halacha. You can't immerse in fire. That's not how you get out of tumah. But Pnimius it is. It's a different kind of tumah, not the regular tumah. This is in kedusha gufa. In Torah Gufa, there's the immersion, the Eibishter Kavayachal immerses in the Hadinur. This is the Hadinur in Torah. Where's the Hadinur in Torah? An example is Rabbi Zayda. Rabbi Zayda went from Talmud Bavli, Talmud Yerushalmi, he fasted 40, 100 fasts to forget Talmud Bavli. So there is this letting go in Torah Gufa as we ascend in higher levels of learning. So Torah is Lachem in Hashemayim, and it doesn't have the same. That's why they complained. There's no residual, there's no waste. How can you eat and eat and eat? There's no waste. That's because it's rarefied food. It's purified. It's Torah, but nonetheless, there is in Torah Gufa aliyas and also reverified. Alekei dvarakesh. So in Avodah, that's between Avodah Tefillah, which is Avodah Berurim, the Mata L'Mayla. It's a real battle of Avodah Tefillah. That's the first Nahar Dinur. And then there's a higher Nahar Dinur, a higher Aliyah, a higher purging, as it were, cleansing in Torah itself. Okay. So continue Achazot, where you say, Be'ez Hashem on Monday. And the next mind is, by the way, very, very short. And there's an Elul mind, but it comes right after.